What up, fam? Building a Lion Knight army. Alright, check it. This isn't one of my levels within my Black Falcon army. This is more of an offshoot, and I guess I'll just attach to the same list because it kind of makes sense. They're in the story, but they are not upgrading my levels of Black Falcons. And if you're not familiar with that series, it's pretty much my Black Falcons growing in scale, story, and equipment. I mean, I'm adding new things every now and then, but right now I'm into story mode with the Black Falcons and the Lion Knights. Although not a part of the Black Falcon army expansion, they are a part of the story. So recently, the Lion Knights or Crusaders, whatever you want to call them, they have come available on Lego Pick-a-Build through Lego set 10305, the Lion's Castle. And if you're not familiar with using that website, it's Lego's online pick-a-brick, pick-a-build, whatever PAB stands for at these days. And if you're building anything, I always recommend looking at that site as well as Bricklink and try to get whatever's cheaper. Just note, Bricklink, you'll probably be able to get it quickly within a week or so, depending on what you want to pay for. Lego, their best sellers will take about 2 weeks, depending on where you live in the United States or around the world, to like 6 months. So yeah, that gamble there. So currently I have about 153 Lion Knights in my possession outside of Lion's Castle that I got from online Pick-a-Build. And it also took months to finally get to me. I think I ordered these in like January or February. I'm just now putting them together. Like my Black Falcons, I wanted to give them a little bit of personality as opposed to just putting them on a base plate. Now, if you've seen the video where I explained to not do this when you're building a Lego minifigure army, pretty much I don't like to put minifigures clean on a base plate. Yes, they look sick, just kind of nice, neat, and clean. Regardless of the fact, I think you can add a lot more personality and character, and it takes a lot more time. It's almost like you're building a mock when you kind of change up the minifigure from each other, lining them up as if it was a little bit more realistic in how they stand. But in the end, do whatever you want, your army, your figs. I'm just saying, I like to have a little bit of character when I display any of my Lego armies, 501st included. So like my Black Falcon army, I have a leader in front of every unit to include a flag or two from the Lion Knight's castle. And if you look from one soldier to another, they are not alike. Yes, there might be similarities from one figure to another, but for the most part, they look kind of raggedy. And then I want to do this for two reasons. One, it's a part of the story, and then two, I kind of like them and not being monotonous across the board. And with looking at these figures, you notice that I replaced all their hands with black gloves. I used to use pliers, but sometimes I kind of just jack them up using the pliers. So I just end up just switching them off individually with my bare tips on my hands, and it was not fun. But once I was able to accomplish that, I was able to just place armor pieces everywhere to include weapons, heads, and helms. And in the end, adding another flag to it and capes to certain minifigures, even my cavalry, like having them with the horse barding, which took forever to get because they lost it and I never got them. And they probably ended up in other people's homes because I've been seeing a lot of people on Instagram getting orders of horse barding that they didn't order. So I felt like mine probably just went to someone on Instagram. And also, fortunately, the Lion Knights come with 3 types of shields, the yellow, blue, and the more royal yellow, blue one. I kind of spread loaded all 3 of them with no particular order, adding to the character for the entire army. So in the end, in front of me, I have about 153 Lion Knights, 4 ground units, and a cavalry unit. I didn't want to have specific units like I did with my Black Falcons because in my lore, the Black Falcons in my story are currently arming themselves up for what's inevitably is about to happen. They've been preparing for about 2 years in reality. That is true. I've been accumulating these knights for 2 years. The Lion Knights just showed up in their beautiful castles in which they pretty much always did well at. If you look at all their castles, the Falcons didn't really have anything like that. So the Lion Knights have been complacent through these times and not really been focusing on war. More of a ragtag group of militia versus a professional army, like how I have my Black Falcons. And with what's going on in the storyline is that there is a large skeleton army out there and it's starting to ravage different realms around the Black Falcons. So the queen of this Lion Knight's castle has raised up a small force, not to defend the walls of the castle, but to go out for help. Like I said, they haven't been preparing for war. They've been kind of complacent behind their high walled castles. And now they know they don't have the manpower to be able to sustain a siege, let alone to be proactive and projecting a military because they can't project their army at all. They didn't prepare for that. And with the strategy of these Lion Knights, they're going to split up. These Lion Knights know that if they were to go in any direction in a huge force, they will be spotted. So stealth is the key. I don't know if it's going to work for them. One of them, with the most inexperienced and incompetent leader, marches them through an area where there was already sightings of these skeletons, finds himself in a place where he shouldn't be, outside of the path that was already written for him to take, only to find himself and his knights and soldiers surrounded by an enemy that came out of nowhere and slaughtered every single one of them. This unit will never see the light of day, leaving only 4 other Lion Knight units out there to be able to reach the Black Falcons. Complacency kills. Yeah, that's what happens.